So if you've never seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, you absolutely should. But if you have, Hollywood's taught you a lot of lies about the true lives of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Spoiler alert, neither one of them looked like Paul Newman or Robert Redford. It doesn't take much Googling to figure out that the Sundance Kid was an alias. His real name was Harry Longabaugh. His more famous moniker came from his one and only arrest. Longabaugh was a thief from a young age. He left home when he was 15, and sometime after, he was jailed in Sundance, Wyoming for stealing a horse. By the time he left prison and took up with Butch Cassidy, the name Sundance Kid had stuck. But Cassidy's name wasn't his own either. No part of his alias was. He was born Robert Leroy Parker to a loving, if unorthodox, Mormon family. He too discovered crime as a teen, though in his case, he was tempted by a rebellious cowboy, Mike Cassidy. Inspired by his shady mentor, Parker took the surname Cassidy when he left home at 18. He changed his name to shield his family from his own reputation. The front half of his alias, according to Cassidy himself, started as a joke. While on the run, he briefly worked as a butcher in Rock Springs, Wyoming. A fellow outlaw, Matt Warner, thought it was funny to call Cassidy Butch for the job. The nickname Butch Cassidy never left him. The Hollywood classic suggests that Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid were thick as thieves, and all they did together, riding in a gang, fleeing to Bolivia, and dying together in a shootout, could lead anyone to believe they were close.
Is that what you call giving cover?
But while the Kid might have been Butch Cassidy's best gunman, the evidence suggests that he wasn't Cassidy's closest confidant. In real life, Cassidy's best friend was a man named Elsie Lay, whom Cassidy met in his native Utah. Their relationship was so close that it ended Lay's own marriage. His wife asked him to stop riding with outlaws, and he refused, leading the two to split in 1899. Lay and Cassidy rode together for a number of years, and Lay helped Cassidy figure out the logistics of the gang's operations. Despite how close they were, he didn't follow Cassidy and the Kid to Bolivia. But you see, he couldn't, even if he wanted to, as he was locked up for life after robbing a train. But in 1906, he won himself a pardon by helping stop a riot, rescuing the warden's wife and daughter in the process. Taking the name William McGinnis, he headed for Wyoming, established a ranch, and ended his days as a guide and a dabbler in geology. Again, if you've seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, you probably see Cassidy as the head of a tight-knit posse, the Wild Bunch. The film opens with him facing down the hulking, deep-voiced Harvey Logan, who challenged his leadership.
Well, if there ain't gonna be any rules, let's get the fight started. Someone count 1, 2, 3, go.
1, 2, 3, go.
And in telling a story, there's a natural instinct to simplify and clarify. If Cassidy is the protagonist, why wouldn't you present him as the leader? But the Wild Bunch may not have been an organized gang. It was more of a loose association of thieves who came together for various jobs, sometimes in pairs and sometimes as a group. And if they had a leader at all, it might not have been Cassidy. It's widely accepted that he was, but some historians believe that the group's real masterminds were Logan, also known as Kid Curry, and William News Carver. Indeed, a small amount of evidence suggests that lawmen took more note of Curry than of Cassidy. Some even think that Curry and the Sundance Kid were better friends than the Kid was with Cassidy. Whether he was the real leader or not, Curry made a lie out of the oft-repeated claim that the Wild Bunch didn't kill. Cassidy may have abhorred violence, but Curry killed multiple people, and by some accounts had to be stopped by Cassidy from killing again. In Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Cassidy suggests to the Kid that they move to Bolivia early on. He imagines the country as the perfect place for a pair of outlaws, abounding in gold and full of easy pickings, and he and the Kid resume thieving almost as soon as they arrive. It's only a chance sighting of a lawman that compels Cassidy to go straight, and even then, he and the Kid can't seem to live honestly, falling back into robbery before they're eventually cornered. But the real reason Cassidy fled to South America may have been less adventurous than the film suggests. Evidence suggests that by the turn of the century, the famous outlaw was tired of his infamy. He may even have approached a lawman in a doomed effort to secure a full pardon. When that fell apart, Cassidy, the Kid, and the Kid's lover Etta Place fled south by way of New York, to Brazil, not Bolivia, before settling in Argentina in 1901. There they established a ranch and seemed to have settled down for a few years. Several years later, Cassidy and the Kid fell back into crime. The next thing you knew, Argentinian authorities had started looking for them. The Kid escorted Place back to America, but on his way back, he shot a police officer, sparking his and Cassidy's official return as outlaws. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid probably died in Bolivia in 1908. They fled there after their trouble in Argentina and were pinned down after robbing a payroll. There are no ironclad reports of them after their alleged standoff with Bolivian authorities, but if they died there, they didn't go out in a blaze of glory like in the movie. Charles Learson's Butch Cassidy, the true story of an American outlaw, tells a different sort of story. Learson draws on contemporary reports out of Bolivia to portray an exhausted and pathetic end for the outlaws. According to his book, they were shot down without fanfare by policemen as they lay in their holdout. The Pinkerton National Detective Agency, which was tracking Cassidy and the Kid, reported in 1909 that Cassidy died by suicide, while the Kid died from injuries inflicted by the Bolivian cavalry. In a variation of that story, Cassidy kills the Kid before shooting himself. But while there were 2 Anglo men cornered by the Bolivian authorities who died in 1908, their bodies were not conclusively proven to be Cassidy's or the Kid's, and no photographs were taken of the corpses. While written evidence still suggests that the duo died in Bolivia, a lack of concrete proof fueled rumors. Some claim that they lived to be shot another day, or even that they escaped back to America and carried on normal lives under aliases. Cassidy's own family spread such stories, claiming that they kept in contact with him until 1937, when he supposedly died of natural causes.